It's not painted yet?
Huh?
It's not painted yet?
Yeah, sure thing. Gonna be smart today, are you?
I'm just trying to bring a little levity into the situation.
Yeah. Don't crack that bowl in too hard or I'll let you paint it.
Hey, I'd love to try to paint it.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
Got here is the car is now taped off. You can see how nice and detailed it is, real tight around all the edges. I went ahead and taped off the motor compartment. This was kind of a pain right here, this little section, and that's what you're looking at because dust will fly out of there and get all over your paint job. You want to make sure that you tape those kind of areas off. We got the floor taped off really good. The reason we did that, even though he's putting rhino liner on here, is why, Minnie?
Dirt flying up.
Okay.
That paint is under a lot of pressure coming out of that gun.
That's right. Now, we're not going to paint this. He's going to go ahead and paint this black. We're not taping it off. If it gets overspray on it, that's fine. What I'm doing now, after it's all taped off, right before we get ready to paint, is I'm taking my Scotch-Brite and I'm going around the whole thing looking for imperfections where I didn't sand it and get it done, like around this edge right here on this windshield. If Minnie could come over here, why are you filming the back of me here?
I wasn't filming the back of you, Pete.
So we're going to go around all these edges, and Minnie said that right here didn't get sanded too good. I've already went over it once. But that's what the gray Scotch-Brite does. It roughs our paint up so the paint will stick properly, and that's what we need. So I'm kind of concerned about this area here because that's like a fresh air duct. We're going to go back. Minnie's going to blow the whole thing off, and she's going to concentrate on that area to make sure that nothing's going to fly out. Always remember that the prep job is the paint job. Hold it right there. What do we got here? Looky here. See where that sand mark is? We're going to take our Scotch-Brite. We're just going to go over that area, get that edge really good, and make sure that it's Scotch-Brite down. The prep job is the paint job. If you don't do a proper prep job on the car, what happens, Minnie?
Paint's gonna look like crap.
The paint will look like crap because you didn't take your time prepping it up. That is the main concern when you're painting the car. This took us approximately 8.5 hours to prep the body up, and Minnie's already got the body parts prepped except for the hood. So tomorrow we'll paint those. There's no taping required on those. And we are now ready to go ahead and clean our paint area, which this is a paint booth. What you'll want to do, if you're doing this in your garage, you'll want to sweep it up really good, blow it out real good. And what else are we going to do?
Wet the floors down.
We're going to put water on the floor. You can see the floor here. And what we're going to do with that, we're going to make sure that the water is down on the floor, and that's a dust control environment. Now I got a paint booth, I got intake filters over here, and these are exhaust filters. Now let's go ahead and simulate that this is a garage. And you're going to simulate it that your car is in the garage, just like what you see here. And then your door would go up. Do you understand? So you're rolling the door up. What you'll want to do is get yourself a house fan, a box fan, or some sort, and just set it right down here, close the door down on it, get some cardboard, and tape that shut. What that's going to do, that's going to suck your paint fumes out. Now if you got a window in the back of your garage or something like that, you can go ahead and put your fan in front of the window. Anything to let the exhaust fumes and the paint fumes that are in the air exhaust out, because once those paint fumes in the air dry, what happens?
They fall all over the
They fall on the car, and then it starts to look like you got dust specks in it, and it's not dust. What it It's the overspray in the air accumulating and balling up, and then it falls down on your car. So the more airflow that you got, the better paint job you're going to get.
Question. Box fan, which way is it blowing? Inside your booth, quote unquote, or outside?
I'll tell you what, I'm going to let the viewers figure that one out.
Okay. Somebody might not know, Pete.
Now that Minnie cleaned the paint booth out and blew the car off and made sure that all the loose trash is gone, what I'm doing is I'm taking a white ball. This is called a white ball. This is an automotive paint and body white ball. Do not use the white balls that you get over at your automotive store, the blue ones, if you use a white ball. But you want to get a nice clean white ball, and you want to wipe everything down using what, Minnie?
Wax and grease remover.
And what's that for?
It gets off all the grease and grime and handprints and anything else that might be
Anything
on
that was
there.
left behind, any residue of paint, sanding, or anything, it'll take it off. And it's very important that this is one of your most important steps to ensure it's going to be a nice job.
Okay, what Pete's doing right here is he is mixing up the epoxy primer, which is actually a sealer. This is a non-sandable sealer that he is going to put on, and it must be put on before the paint, and it's only put on the areas where Bondo has been done and Bondo and bare metal epoxy primer, and it is sealer.
Okay, Minnie was supposed to be a commentator on that. What we're talking about here is epoxy primer. This is not a primer, this is a sealer. Did you tell them that?
Yeah, twice.
Oh, did you? Okay. And it requires a hardener to make it work. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in the paint booth. I'm going to go ahead and spot prime it. Minnie will take over from here.
As Pete just repeated, he's fixing to spot prime the car. But it's not really primer, it's called primer, but it's actually a sealer. Like he said, it is a non-sandable primer that is put on all the places where body work was done, so it's going on top of the primer area where the body work was done, and also any areas that have bare metal. So that's the first step in painting the car, is putting on the sealer. And that's what Pete's doing right now. Now, as you can see, he's not going over the entire panel. He is only putting the sealer where bare metal is showing or where he did body work. And there is actual primer. This keeps the car, this keeps the paint from reacting. Because we definitely don't want any kind of orange peel, fisheye, solvent pop, any crazy stuff like that going on. Because then, of course, it would be holler and scream session. But so far, everything's going great. He'll put the coat of sealer on there, or actually spot prime the sealer on there, and then he will wait about 15 minutes or so, and then he'll put his first coat of paint. was showing. He put it down here where he had done body work. And also, if you can see, he's done all the little grooves. And that's where we had to very finely put the sandpaper so that we could ensure that the paint sticks on both sides. So he went ahead and put some sealer in that area too. So we had bare metal showing up here around these holes. Again, all the joints he's covered up. Body work down here. Some bare metal was showing up here. And that sealer is going to ensure that the paint sticks well, and also that we don't have any kind of reactions from the paint hitting bare metal or the paint hitting the bodywork. Okay, now our next step is going to be to put the first coat of paint on there, but we do have to wait about 45 minutes to let the sealer set up.
Did you tell them everything that's going on?
I think so.
All right, let's go ahead and close it down. When we come back, we're going to be putting the paint on. What we're going to be using is we are going to be using a base coat clear coat system. This is base coat paint, and then we'll go ahead and put some clear on top of that. That's going to give you the most high quality paint job that you can get when doing a scuff and paint job. Always remember, your prep job is your paint job. The scuff job is going to be the paint job. So let's go ahead and let that dry. We'll come back, mix our paint up. We're going to do what the manufacturer says to do to mix that up with our equivalent reducer, all right? And then we'll go ahead and use the clear that we're going to use with the manufacturer's clear on requirements of mixing that up the proper way, and down the road we go.
What we got going on here now is Pete's getting ready to put the first coat of paint on. He'll actually put 2 to 3 coats of paint on there first, and of course there'll be some dry time in between each coat, and then he will apply the clear, which will be 3 coats of clear with dry time in between each one of those also. Okay, now the way he mixes this is according to the manufacturer's directions. So depending on the brand you use and stuff, you'll always want to check that out first because everyone's just a little bit different. He just added the reducer to that, and he'll mix that all up really good, and he'll pour it through a strainer into his paint cup. He always strains everything to make sure that there's nothing in there, because it will stop up his needle in his spray gun if he doesn't filter it. Now that one cup of paint is not enough, obviously, to do the whole thing, so he's going to mix up one more in that cup, and he'll take it inside the paint booth with him so he doesn't have to come back out here and stop to refill. Of course, as you can see, Pete doesn't have his gloves on, which he usually wears, but he's in a little bit of a hurry right now, so yeah, it's messy, and you really shouldn't let that get on your skin because it does penetrate, and those chemicals aren't good for you. Now he's going to go in there and start his spraying. He's going to turn the booth on and get ready to go. Okay, now he's adjusting the pressure and the spray pattern on his gun. He always does that to make sure it's all flowing out properly. Even though he just used it 40 minutes ago, he still tests it out. Now here he goes. First coat. On those hinges right there, you got to make sure when you're painting stuff like that you get all sides. Just spraying it across is not going to get the bottom, the top, edges, and all that. So you got to really take your time and make sure that you get every surface. Something else you want to pay attention to when you're painting is your hose. You don't want your hose to get in the way. You don't want to accidentally jerk on it and it swing up and hit your paint job. So you really want to pay attention to what you're doing.
We got our 3 full wet coats of paint on there. We also got our 3 full wet coats of clear. Let's go check it out. Let's see what we got. And as you can see, it laid down just like a professional paint job. You can see how high gloss it is. You can see that the clear flowed out perfect. And you can also see how the paint laid down and covered very, very well. This is a scuff and paint job. You saw the situation. We didn't prime it. We didn't strip it. We block sanded it with 320. Actually, DA sanded it. You can see that it didn't even leave any marks or swirls in the paint or the clear on the body anywhere by using the short throw finish DA sander. And that's the situation you have. Using the right tools and using the technique of always remembering your prep job is your paint job will get you that professional look every time. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to let this dry overnight. We'll come back, pull all the paper off, and we still got to paint all the small pieces such as the hood, the doors, and the tailgate. Once that's all done, the owner will come pick it up, take it home, and he'll be ready to put it all back together. But before he picks it up, we're going to get a good look at this thing outside. Now another thing about this car, we were not going to buff this car. Remember what I told you? This was a scuff and paint. Scuff and paint jobs don't get buffed. Scuff and paint jobs are just as is, and that's the way it goes. So I think it came out pretty awesome, and I think the owner is going to be ecstatic when he sees it, because it's a hell of a nice paint job, inside and out, of course, and looking good. So we are now done painting the Jeep, our scuff and paint job, and we went ahead and put all the panels on it. And it has came out to be a beautiful paint job. Well, we just got done doing the Jeep. What are you thinking?
I think it looks like a beautiful red Jeep now. Looks brand new.
So there you go right there. That's your scuff and paint job. That's a 2-day paint job, 3 maximum. On a particular job just like this, we went ahead and removed our panels to give it more of a professional look so we can get our jams. As you can see, it really looks good. Let's go ahead and open the doors on it. See what it looks like with the doors open. So when you open the doors, bam, you got all the color flowing in throughout the vehicle. On a particular vehicle like this, it's a good idea to go ahead and remove the panels but in most cases, when you're going to do a remake, or should I say a scuff and paint, you usually don't want to remove the panels. But I'm happy with the job. The customer will be happy, and it didn't take us that much time to do it. Remember always that your paint job is your prep job, and if you don't do a good prep job, you're not going to have a good paint job. Is that right?
That's absolutely right. And I think this one came out fantastic.
I think it came out awesome. We don't even need to color sand and buff it.
No.
And it's ready to go down the road and be driven down the road. Will it ever see any four-wheel drive action? Probably not, being in the state of Texas where everything's flat. So it still came out to be a beautiful ride. I don't understand why people in Texas buy four-wheel drives, especially in Dallas. It's like they're everywhere. We call them urban commandos over here.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it's supposed to be 102 today. I would not want to be riding in that car, sitting in traffic
Dallas, Texas.
In 102 degrees.
And one more thing, this Jeep that they bought doesn't even have a top with it. No tops, nothing.
I thought it had a bra.
It has a bra.
Well,
it doesn't have a top.
That's a top.
And another thing is somebody took the air conditioner out. So good luck in the state of Texas or Dallas, Texas with it. But it's done, and it's out of my hair, and it's down the road. Good luck on all your projects out there in the world, and hopefully your scuff and paint job will turn out as good as this one did. We'll see you later.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.